Oh yes, good day, YouTube. John DCQR reporting from somewhere in Toronto, Canada. As I was checking my mail and watching a few YouTube videos, one video caught my attention. Although there were many videos that caught my attention, one video caught my attention that required somewhat of a video response. That video is called "The Real Threat from Islam" by a user named Thunderfoot. A short but not so sweet video about the precarious position the Islamic world suffers is in generally, and the Arab world is in particularly. Putting aside the fact that roughly 3/4 of the world's Muslims live in India and Asia, where their standards of living are improved, and not to mention that Muslims living in those areas earn many international awards, including those in science, where most Arab countries and a place where most Arab countries are members of OPEC, an international cartel created by the major oil companies, which in turn generates copious funds to pay lobbyists and PR firms to convince American Congresses to support their causes. The Arab world faces many problems, from brutal dictatorships to corrupt regimes to a lack of infrastructures that allow the development of economies and science, to name a few necessities for prosperity, in which the people running those countries are either unable, unwilling, or simply cannot be bothered to cope with the problems. Oh yeah, where was I? While the problems are complex enough to prevent elaboration due to time restraints, I have some idea on establishing a starting point for workable solutions. Excuse me. I have created a list of some basic solutions. 1. Abolish foreign aid. Even though foreign aid is roughly 1%, a very small percentage, like of any budget, like compared to, of course, defense budget, foreign aid. The important thing is foreign aid is used as a means for governments to bribe other governments indirectly, which in turn subsidizes a whole whack other institutions. Pretty much what foreign aid does is not only subsidizes corrupt and brutal regimes, but they also subsidize big business, high finance, non-governmental organizations, foundations, and a whole whack other special interest groups that are dependent on the above. Yep. One good thing about abolishing foreign aid is that it forces the Arabs to have to come up with their own solution. Another solution I recommend is to have Western countries, especially America, stop meddling in the Arab countries' politics and internal affairs. Oh, look at places like Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Egypt, and on, to give us a few examples, and they're in a whole whack of trouble. Another solution would be to stop subsidizing the madrasas and other religious institutions, which Western governments did during the 1980s and 1990s. And another solution is to stop using money the Arabs invested in American banks to fund brutal dictatorships and corrupt regimes elsewhere, which is what happened during the 1970s when the major oil companies encourage OPEC to triple to quadruple the price of oil, and the American banks encouraged the Arabs to invest in certificates of deposits, which in turn the American banks use that money to fund all, to lend out many, hundreds of billions of dollars to South American countries and African and Asian countries at exorbitant interest rates, and they were so high, and that during the 1980s, many of those countries defaulted on those loans, and that's also one of the reasons Saudi Arabia was involved in one one of the main reasons that Saudi Arabia was supporting the wars in Afghanistan during the 1980s, Bosnia during the 1990s, and pretty much almost every African country from then to now was to go collect debts. Oh yeah, there was also a strange correlation between, countries that owed lots of money to IMF and the Islamization of those countries. Yes, and that was also one of the major factors that that 9/11 came that 9/11 occurred, because in effect, Western the American banks pretty much ripped off the Arabs. I'm relatively ignorant about Arab culture, but I know they don't take dishonorable business practices lightly. Go watch Osama bin Laden's interviews, and in which he constantly griped on how Western institutions, especially the American ones, owed owed his employers hundreds of billions of dollars. Yeah, this is just a basic starting point for more viable solutions in the future. Yep. John DCQ signing out, and you have yourself a good day.